back here. So doing this second part of this video, hopefully I find the way to splice them together. Obviously this is the next day. The first video ended up being like almost an hour and is all on Bitcoin. So we'll quickly go through some other coins. Like I mentioned in the last video, ZRX doesn't give a fuck. It's a honey badger, bro. I swear I'm like a ADHD like puppy or something, man. Something catch my eye, I just go off. That's why all these videos are so fucking long, and I apologize. Anyways, won't go too deep into Bitcoin. Gonna keep this second portion relatively quick. Just go through some other coins that I mentioned I would. And like I said in the last video, I'm gonna start having some more structured shit for you guys, kind of crypto cred style. Maybe do just a video just on order blocks, a video just on whatever topics we kind of decide. I'll get you guys' input as to things that you guys want to see. We'll do some Q&As. I like that. Maybe we'll try and do some live streaming shit. Who knows? It's gonna be fun. Anyways, so post this little lesson in the trade ideas, and this will be the last kind of thing I say on Bitcoin about a breaker. What a breaker is, and I covered most of this in the last video, how I got into my long and the potential setup I see here. So potential setup I see is kind of similar to this, right? We have a breaker block, bullish breaker, blows out these stops, price nukes it, and then we want to enter on the retest, right? And then we had a huge move. So I potentially could see that happening here, and this one was on the 4 hour, I believe. I think this is a daily breaker. Shout out to whoever taught me how to do this. This thing's cool. Fucking right on. Anyways, auto scales on. So potentially same thing happening through here, right? We had a price. You could have the wicks here, doesn't really matter. We had price from this order block, blow out this swing low, rally right through it, and then what I'm hoping to get is a breakdown and a retest, which I would buy the shit out of. So I posted the other day, I have orders in here. I have orders down here, kind of right up through to here. I had some at 9,600 that actually got hit. Overnight, I think I got a couple fills like at 95, 90 kind of thing. So already in a trade, but I would like to bring that average price down. Hopefully we get, this is a pretty parabolic move. I mean, this could have been it, right? This could be a bull flag, continuation. Bull flags are signs of continuation patterns, but they're also a very common retail pattern, and they can often be used for manipulation, which is what I posted on Twitter, and I think might happen here is this is a false bull flag. We're actually gonna fake break up and then actually break down before going up. So who knows? I could be completely wrong, but one of the reasons I think that, we talked about this in the last video, we are getting to the upper echelon of this range here. So there's some confluence on the fibs. I know on the 4 hour chart there's an order block over here somewhere that lines up with this kind of 96 level here. There's one right here that I could draw out. Just do a line, just it's quicker. I'll do two. So in terms of a larger, oh my God, fuck off. In terms of a larger price swing, and we have this weekly level, right? In terms of a larger price swing, we're in the OTE, the upper 1/3 of the range. There's a 4 hour block stopping these highs. There's that weekly level. So there is some upside resistance here. And I mentioned this in the last video. I think this is a much bigger test, this area here, than 10K is. I think once we cleanly are through here, this is way too clean of a double top. Take that one to the bank. When we're up above here, up above 10K, we're going and taking out these stops. Hasn't happened yet. And what I'm trying to point out here is that what we could potentially see is this being a false bull flag and then getting a retrace. What I would hope is a retrace to this bullish breaker, which would be in line with what the breaker is, which is a very powerful, price action technique, if you want to call it. If you look at this one, right, when we nuked through it, the reaction here was huge, right? We went from 7,800 to 9,800. That's a $2,000 move. Bullish breaker here from 9,400. $2,000 move would take us to 11,400, which is the start of this next area. I mean, it kind of makes sense. The market moves mathematically. Sorry, just got a text there. Anyways, we'll see. If I'm wrong here, it's so funny. Twitter is so funny. The more followers I get, shout out again to all the new followers. Over 5,000 now, which is just nuts. Anyways, when you get more followers, what I'm finding is if you post something contradictory to the retail consensus, people get mad, especially if it's wrong. And that's what people seem to forget. I'm not some sort of guru. I'm not some oracle. I don't claim to be. The bottom line here, I actually quite like those lines. I'm going to leave those. The bottom line here is I'm already long. I posted that I was long on a couple of weeks ago on Twitter. I've posted the trades. I've posted in the Discord. I have long entries from 9,600. I have long entries from 8,800. I have a few trades that have over 100% ROI on BitMEX already. So if this thing breaks up, I'm just going to be making more money. But the point of me posting this is that there is a potential for it to break down, which would give me a trade setup to get more long. That's all I'm trying to show here. I'm not saying we're going to 6K from this. So anyone who's watching this who might be one of those people commenting on my post saying, oh no bro, it's not a false bear flag, I don't give a fuck. I'm right either way in this scenario. If it is a bull flag and we continue up, I'm more in profit. And if it is a false bull flag, like I said it is, or I think it is, excuse me, I'm gonna get better long entries on my long that's already in position. So it's a win-win for me. So I don't really give a fuck what y'all think. Anyways, that's enough on Bitcoin here. So again, my thoughts, very straightforward. Potentially, we're going to retrace. I've got orders from, right here essentially to right around here because my 9,600 one's already filled. So we'll see. Bulk of the orders are obviously lower. My goal is to dollar cost average my entry down. So let's see what else I decided I was going to talk about here in the announcements. I love how, I'm like, oh, video going up tonight, and everyone says they've heard that before. I'm sorry, guys. I know that this is inconsistent and random, and I say I'm going to do a video. Life gets in the way. Like I said before, I work full-time. I run a company. Trading is something I do on the side as a hobby, something I do for fun. I love to teach. I love to educate. I love to share, and I love helping people. And that's why I do this. So obviously, it's important to me, but a lot of other things take precedence. My business, real life, gets in the way. Basketball playoffs, hockey playoffs, this stuff happens. Beer, weed, gets in the way of me consistently uploading these videos. But I'm gonna continue to do as much as I can for you guys. I'm a one-man show here, one-man operation. So please, always keep that in mind. But I am going to try and dial up the content quality, and so maybe the releases won't be as, often, but, higher quality videos, or at least have some more structure. If I could find a way to make these videos only take me half an hour to record, I'd probably do a lot more. The problem is once I start rambling, every one of these videos seems to end up right around, 1.5 hours. You guys probably have a betting pool on the over-under of these video times, and, that could be interest. So anyways, let's go to some other, sorry, I'm just going to call here. I'm just going to, sorry about that. Let's go through some of this other shit, make sure I hit all the questions, and then we'll end this video, and we'll be on to the next one. We're having a little dump here, guys. Little dump here. Fuck. If I called this false bull flag right, I'd be stoked. Look smart as fuck. If I called it wrong, well, fuck you guys. I'll delete the tweet. Just kidding. Obviously, won't delete it. I'll just post that I'm, over 200% ROI or on my long. So, anyways, let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Announcement, education, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's go through F. Haven't redrawn my blocks since my shit got deleted by TradingView. You fucking bitch of a company. Your shitty charts. Hopefully this doesn't happen anymore. But F, we posted a trade that we got into on F at 600. We posted this entry. I took off a lot of my long going into the weekly level. I believe that is up around 700, but I'll just do it again just because. Right, we had this weekly block here, I think. You know what, let's just fucking do it. Do it the proper way. I know you guys love when I scroll through my tweets. So yeah, we had this block from 660 to 710 on F. I posted this entry right down here at 600. I don't think I got in at 600. I think I told you guys that I got in a little bit worse than that. I'm punting at this setup, right? We had stops taken into a higher time frame block. I think I got in right around 620. I took most of my F trade off. I believe going into this 725 level. Let's just draw this thing out. Me fucking TradingView master here. TradingView goddamn ninja. Keep posting the fucking facts in there, boys. I love it. Okay, so. And I think there was a 4-hour block within the weekly block, which is why I took out most of my position right here. Oh, fuck. Maybe I'm not a TradingView ninja. More like TradingView autistic. All right. Technologically artistic. For someone who's not that old, I fucking struggle sometimes with the tech here. Anyway, so I took off, from my entry down here quite a bit, up into this resistance area. And I paid myself, right? I always say that, always pay yourself. And so I was paying myself all the way up here, and I believe I've had this level 725 on my charts for literally fucking months. I could go back to the start of March. I have this 725, 76 level on here. What is the top of this candle? 725. So, price action works, TA works. Top of this candle, 725, right? So, pretty cool when you see stuff like that happen. That's why I suggest you guys go draw on your charts. Remember, this is an EQ of a daily order block. The low is 610, 679. That's fucking precision, boys. Draw these lines on your charts, and you'll be amazed to see what happens. When you forget about them, like I haven't really looked at F in a couple of weeks here, and you come back and you see the levels interacting perfectly. That you drew out in advance, not in hindsight, in advance. That's the best feeling. So F is kind of filling out, this void here right now. So, I mean, if you're not already long, this move is, going kind of parabolic. I wouldn't be surprised to see if it comes back and tests this area. There's a 4-hour block here. This weekly level is now going to be, support. So I definitely am going to set some bids, from essentially anywhere above the EQ of this weekly level is a pretty safe buy, targeting at least this next level, and we're definitely going to clear out this consolidation up here. So wait for a retrace. I mean, don't buy it now. I mean, it's I don't know how much it's gone up to just today, but the daily, this is the daily, right? Do you want to buy this right now, or would you rather buy it? Remember, this kind of looks like this, right? You want to buy it here, or do you want to buy it on, I mean, this is a terrible example. I mean, this thing's been going straight up, right? So we ended up getting in on this retrace. I think there's definitely, before we clear out, this is like a huge consolidation here. This is going to get cleared out for sure. I think we mentioned that in the last video. Flood saying he's not taking profits until 900. That's a good profit taking area to me, 900, right above here. So if you want to buy it and hold to 900, I'm not suggesting you do that straight from here. I think you can get a better entry, right? Higher time frame perspective is bullish, right? So if we're now ranging on the 15-minute, this is exactly what we covered in the last video, but for Bitcoin. We're ranging in the 15-minute chart, like we kind of are right now. Don't buy up here, buy down here. This makes a difference, right? This is 810, this is 760. We could be rolling over to our OTE right here. You could buy potentially a retrace. Doesn't that line up nicely? This order block right here, right, with the 62. 774 is a whole lot better of a buy than 785, especially if you're trading margin. So if we're ranging on the weekly, or on the 15-minute, excuse me, and the higher time frame bias is bullish, look to enter onto a retrace into an order block on a lower time frame, right? Maybe go down to the hourly. Here's the move, right? This is the hourly block that you want to buy into, potentially. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'll leave this on the chart, and we can come back and revisit it. But, there's a good chance this is an opportunity to buy, taking out this high and, targeting the higher level. But very similar to where Bitcoin is going to be, ETH is almost kind of leading it in a sense. And what I mean by that is on Bitcoin here, we have this void we talked about here, right? That I think once we break above here, we're going to fill quite quickly. It looks like ETH is filling that void already, right? We have the same thing here. From this here to the top of this candle is a void, right? We talked about this in the last video, and ETH is already in the process of filling that void. So there's no real resistance for ETH to get up to here. And so I very much expect this consolidation to get cleared out. And if you're not in this trade already, look for a retrace. Oh my God, just fucking burping and all sorts of shit here. Look for a retrace to get in on it. Don't buy it at the top of the range or the top of a candle, right? Essentially, think of it like that whole 15-minute area I showed you, that's this whole daily candle, right? You don't want to buy the top wick of the daily candle. You want to buy the lower wick of the daily candle. Well, how do you do that? You go to a lower time frame and you try and buy a retracement. If we're bullish, you don't want to buy the top of that daily candle. You want to buy down here on that daily candle. The body of the daily candle at least, not the top wick. And so if we're bullish, we can go on a lower time frame, and market structure, we'll talk about this all the time, shifts on the lower time frame first, right? So for trying to break down a prices fractal, right? A daily candle is a bunch of 1 hour candles. You want to be buying the down 1 hour candles to get in the bottom portion of a daily up candle. Hope that makes sense. It should. I think I explained it pretty well there, right? If this whole thing is a daily candle, the bottom wick of that daily candle is this price down here. You want to be buying on a down move on a lower time frame to get into the lower part of a bullish daily candle. So if you're not in this, the long story short, if you're not in this ETH trade, look to get in on a retrace. Maybe even I'll sprinkle some bids right along this hourly order block, and potentially lower as well. I would probably have bids from 725, and depending on what Bitcoin does, this could get blown out. We could go down here. Anything, again, I think above here, we're targeting 900. Anything from, here to up here, I would be setting bids, targeting for 900. It's a big range, but, you scale in, you scale out. I might have bids down here that never get hit. But if we get a capitulation wick like we did on Bitcoin here, you might get lucky and get a really nice entry. This was such a quick spike, and if you got a order sitting down here and it gets filled at 9,400. Like, you're laughing already. So anyways, F definitely going to clear out that, you know, $900 level, in my opinion. Litecoin had a little bit of a pump. Someone asked me to post the chart in Litecoin. I fucking hate Litecoin, but you know, what did we have here? I don't like the price action on it. I find it so choppy, and I just don't personally trade it. But I think I posted it a few days ago, back when it was below this weekly order block. And it's almost the same market structure as Bitcoin, right? We were ranging, we broke high, we were ranging, and then eventually we blew out this high. It lagged behind Bitcoin, but I mean, just using your eye here, these two pink levels are a weekly block. You know, 159 and 153, 156 is probably the median. You know, look how nicely we have some interaction, you know, with this top and this top and this low. I wouldn't have been trading Litecoin. I haven't been trading it, but you know, here's what I posted, and it looks like we're gonna close above this daily level, and you know, some sort of retrace into the low 160s, targeting up here. You know, makes perfect sense. I think the 180 level is significant on Litecoin. Oh, fuck off. So this range, 180 is like the equilibrium. It would clear out all of the stops here, you know, all the liquidity here. 180 is going to be key. And on the way down, we talked about this as well with Litecoin. And I thought Litecoin was going to sweep the $100 level. I think I was talking about it when it was, you know, way up above 180. This was, you know, when I started doing these breakdowns early April, wherever Litecoin was. I think we were up around here. And I said 180 is a key level. Above there, I thought we were going to target higher. That was kind of during this correction. So above 180, we're going to, you know, target higher. We didn't get there, and then we kind of followed it on the downside. And I thought it would sweep the 100 level, and we just came shy of that, right? We got down to, you know, 109. But, you know, calling that from up in the high, you know, 200s all the way down to 109 is not so bad. You just got to go far enough back in my Twitter. You know, maybe I should take the practice of what some of those guys online do, where they just retweet super old tweets to, you know, get clout and make them look good. I don't really care that much, though. Anyway, sorry, got another phone call coming in there. Litecoin, yeah, I think 180 would be a next logical target for sure on Litecoin. So we'll also check Litecoin, Bitcoin. I think I drew some TA on this one as well. Some levels. I mean, who wants to trade this? This looks fucking like choppy as hell. Anyways, this is a 4-hour block here, a close above here. I think we're targeting this high here. So similar idea, right? We broke high and want to see a retest and then another move up. So I trade mostly Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ripple, and Monero or Cardano here on margin on BitMEX. That's like 85% of my trading. I have a few altcoin bags I'm holding. I kind of talked about, you know, I don't love holding altcoins and, you know, just holding and waiting for it to pump. I have shown on, you know, multiple occasions that these price action concepts, right? This is just one order block. And if you would have just bought it, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days here where it was interacting with that order block. You could have gone a lower time frame, got a retracement, or just bought it as soon as you held it. The maximum drawdown you had by just buying the order block on FLend here was down to 467 Satoshi. Let's say if you would have bought it as soon as it touched it at 555. That's not a lot of drawdown, right? Anyways, and just from buying, you know, there up to here, this is already 100% move we've seen just from drawing one order block. So the price action works. clearly I should start taking my own advice and just go draw these on every fucking shit coin on Binance and BitterX. Maybe not BitterX. You guys are telling me that one's shitty, but KuCoin and Trade Ogre, whatever the ones that there are, I don't even know. That's how out of touch I am with the alt game. But clearly it works. You know, I drew another block here. So, I mean, this has moved 100% from here to here. So a retrace down to here, I'm definitely going to buy. So I will be buying ETHLend. I'm going to set an alarm here. And if it comes down here, I'm going to fucking chuck some coins at it and see if I can become a shitcoin expert like my boy Benici there. Anyways, so TA does work on this kind of stuff, but I need to practice more on that as well. What I find though, and as all the, you know, these coins are going to run when Bitcoin is consolidating, and, you know, vice versa. When Bitcoin is pumping, a lot of alts are going to dump. So what you need to do is you need to be marking off order blocks like this. So when Bitcoin starts to pump, you know, through 10K, I am going to expect this coin to roll over, and I'm going to look to buy here or buy down here if it does come all the way back down there. So, you know, that's kind of how you play these altcoins, and that's how you play the cross market, right? So Bitcoin is consolidating, you know, this shit is pumping. And then when Bitcoin pumps, you know, this thing dumps off, and look, it dumps right into an order block and then, you know, bounces. And if Bitcoin consolidates for a while, we could expect, you know, AppCoin here to continue up from here. So that's how you kind of play the cross market. It's a very basic kind of explanation of the correlation between these coins. But simply, when Bitcoin is consolidating, you know, alts are going to be running. You probably should have been entered already. And that was back to that tweet I posted. You know, don't enter on the green, enter on the reds. When Bitcoin is pumping, you want to be looking for entries on alts. Why would you want to do that? Well, what's the retail-minded trader doing? When Bitcoin is pumping, they're dumping their altcoins to buy Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin is dumping, what are they doing? They're selling their Bitcoin to buy altcoins. So that's kind of like a layman's explanation of it, but don't fucking do that. When Bitcoin is dumping, buy altcoins. Sorry, excuse me. When Bitcoin is consolidating and altcoins are running, you want to be buying Bitcoin, or assuming it's going to go up, you know, and that's your bias. You want to be buying Bitcoin when it's moving sideways and selling Bitcoin, obviously, when it's pumping, and using those gains to get cheap entries on altcoins. Because when the Bitcoin is flying, when the corn's going up, you know, these altcoins are going to dump. And that's when you want to be buying these altcoins. So draw up your order blocks. Don't buy them when they're going straight up. Don't buy it on this day. Don't buy it on this day. Don't buy it on this day. Buy it on this day, right? So then for the next leg, you had the better entry. As opposed to buying it way up here, you bought it way down here. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's see here. What else? We'll go through a couple more coins here. I know I'm already going way over time. So we did ETH, we did LTC, we'll do XRP and ADA. Where it is. So I've been trading this one, you know, for a while now, and I've posted a couple of my entries I had, but you know, I entered on this block here, and I posted my entry, and I didn't even get that good of an entry, and this is not going to show us any sort of history, is it? There we go. So what do we have here? This is a great example of a blank chart, so I can just mark it up here, and you'll see what I see, right? So to me, I see this block here is one that I want to mark. And then I didn't have anything, you know, down here. So what would I do? You know, you could mark this one, but you know, the price never gets down here. So what would I do? I would go on and actually I would mark this one here too. Wonder why I'd mark that one, eh, boys? Think. And then what I would do is I'd go down on a lower time frame, and maybe I bet you what was the low of this consolidation here, or of this dump? 1674. have anything on the 4 hour. Might have something on the 1 hour, and I'm going to explain what I'm doing here in a sec, but there's always a way to get that bottom if you want it. So I think it would be, you know, it's got to be one of these, you know, this block here, something like that, I would say. I mean, we get pretty close. We don't actually get it. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a block. I mean, that seems like a massive waste of time now, but there's an order block in here somewhere that you could have found and drawn. You know, you got to remember that I'm just using the basic time frames that are available here. There are intermediate, you know, there's a 5 hour time frame you could look at. There's a 10 hour. And so there's a candle in here that I could find that I imagine would catch this dump. The reason I don't really care is you don't, like I've said so many times, you don't have to get the absolute fucking bottom, right? So yeah, we didn't get way down here, but if you would have just drawn this order block, like on the daily, the super obvious one, the one that I drew first, you know, you would have said, okay, well, it dipped below the accumulation area, but it came through it, right? This is a bullish sign breaking through this order block to the upside, and then we had a perfect retest. That would have been a great entry. And where were we targeting? We were targeting this next order block here, right? And just like we were talking about before here, where am I going to want to enter ADA if I want to get in on this? Am I going to want to enter it up here? Or am I going to want to wait until Bitcoin dumps and then maybe try and buy it, you know, down here? Excuse me. You know, it might not come this low. It might not. You know, maybe it only comes down here. Right? Here's a date, an hourly order block. Look how well that one worked, right? I mean, and this is all I would be doing on, you know, these coins. And this is all I do on Bitcoin too, right? You know, ADA's going up. And this is almost easier analysis for most of you guys who only trade crypto to think about. Well, if Bitcoin is pumping, altcoins are going to be dumping, but if the overall trend is, you know, altcoins going up, you know, and Bitcoin is rising overall, you know, it's a bullish market, which it seems to be right now. You don't want to buy it up here. You want to buy it on a retrace, right? So you wait for Bitcoin to start pumping. The altcoins will start dumping, and you wait for it to dump into predefined levels. When Bitcoin doesn't move like it did the other day, you know, where it broke through 9,800 or whatever it was, like these support levels, yeah, they might get broken just due to the fact that Bitcoin is pumping so hard and people are just dumping the shit out of their altcoins, you know, to try and catch that pump. But the bottom line is, you know, for me, this is how I would be trading and have been trading ADA. I'm obviously doing the month 18s on BitMEX, but I drew levels on the regular ADA chart, and I used those to kind of say, okay, well, you know, there's not as much price action on this one to draw, but, you know, this pair is coming into resistance. I know that maybe I don't have that level on this one, but I can assume that, you know, this is going to be coming into resistance as well. But this is how I would be trading these coins. I'd be drawing levels, you know, if Bitcoin's dumping, you know, like it was, Bitcoin was pumping here, and look what was happening to this, right? So if you're trying to chase this ADA uptrend, which is probably going to clear out, you know, these highs up here closer to 5,000, do you want to be buying it at 4,000, or do you want to try and get a way better entry down at 3,500? So most altcoins on the whole look as though they are finding support on pullbacks after all getting some pretty significant rips. You know, this has been ripping 45%, you know, in just the last couple of weeks here, even less, right? This is really, you know, the last like 10 days, you know, this has ripped almost 50%. So looks like this is completely normal. I mean, if this level doesn't hold, you know, I would punt a buy here. I would buy down here as well, just because the market looks like, you know, this thing is bottoming out and it's, you know, starting to climb again. But I would mark the 50% level of this thing, and that's a level I would watch. Below the 50% of this green zone would be questionable for me. But I mean, I'm not as to whether it's going to keep going up, but that'd take a serious rip on Bitcoin. With Bitcoin being so close to having, you know, a major breakout, like it's obviously made some nice up moves so far, but the next move potentially could take us to 12K. So a lot of altcoins are getting dumped. So what you should be doing is marking levels where it could dump to and setting buy orders there. That's what you should be doing. That's how I'd be playing, you know, altcoins right now. Let's just do Ripple real quick, and then we'll end the video. Ripple, holy shit. So, let's see here. I mean, this looks, yeah, that is a nasty wick. Holy cow. This looks almost very similar to Bitcoin's market structure. It's some sort of bull flag. This thing looks like it wants to clear out, you know, the 110. It looks, I feel like this is kind of where we're gonna see cleared out on Ripple here. So this could be a good play. Wait for, I mean, again, on the daily, you know, we're consolidating right now. You don't want to buy it at the top of this range. You want to buy at the bottom half of the range. So this is a bad example because this is compared against USD. Let's do Ripple on Binance here. So like when I say order blocks are, you know, take practice to know which ones to choose. Like there's more factors that you guys will learn as you go through ICT, and I share more with you. But for me, I've been working with them so long. I saw this right away. I draw it out. Like it's just like that. I don't know how else to explain it other than I have a lot of experience doing this. So you're going to see the ones that you want to focus. And so this one jumps out at me, and you know this is supporting price very nicely. So definitely think that this thing looks like it's priming up for another rip. In my opinion, I think it's consolidating here. I think the next time we see Bitcoin pump, we could see, you know, it dump into this level again, where I would buy it, or you know, you could buy it. You know, I can margin trade this on Max. Targeting highs, I think the $10,000 level is for sure going to get reached again from down here, and I would not be surprised if once it clears this level here, you know, if we kind of get up into the 15,000 Satoshi level on Ripple. So all the altcoins, again, they look like they're either falling down into support, or they've already found support like we saw on Ripple there. And we can expect, of course, this is a different chart, we can expect them to keep ripping. ZRX has been absolutely absurd. This is nuts. So maybe I'll see some ease here, guys, because I mean it's a 100% move, right? Scratch that, 300% move. And this is not that long ago. March 18th. Do you guys see the order block that I want to draw on here already before I do it? It's jumping out at me, right? What do you see here? Is that not like the definition of what we saw in F-Lend as well? Right, just drew an order block and it just caught the bottom. You could just bought it. So one of the biggest alt winners over the last, you know, little while, and all you had to do was draw one order block, and you know, if you go down to that day, it wasn't in there very long, but you know, touched it here, and there's, you know, you could have just bought this. I don't know, and where would you have targeted, right? It fucking walked right out of here, but there was and there was multiple opportunities, you know, to get in this thing. If you didn't buy it here, but you see it start making higher lows and higher highs, you know, you don't want to buy it up here, but if you see an order block here, right, like I do, and you get a retracement, you know, I'm not gonna use that wick because that's clearly a hugely manipulated wick. I mean, this is right in the OTE. You know, so much opportunity to get in here. I mean, this is at 7,000. You didn't get the entry down here, but who the fuck cares? I mean, it's at 17,000 now, right? You're still 2x from here. And I could do this over and over again, right? I can find another consolidation, draw out the order block. You know, and once I do this so much, I don't always draw the fibs anymore because I can just kind of see, you know, with this order block here and this swing, I can see that this is a 62 to 79% retracement. That's just practice. That's because I've spent countless hours in the charts not getting a tan outside and staring at this shit to the point where I don't need to anymore. So you guys will get there. Anyways, I'm gonna sign off. I don't even know how long this second half went on for, but I'm sure long enough. It's Trader Mayne signing out. Hoping to have some sort of educational video up for you guys this weekend. Maybe order blocks. I don't know. I'll do some sort of poll in the group and we'll take it from there. Anyways, talk soon, guys, and yeah, see you later.